Welcome, everybody, to the FTI podcast, where we talk racing and other crap that's racing adjacent. We're the FTI guys. We are for anybody that's watching this and you've just found our TikTok and you've clicked a link and found this YouTube video or our podcast. We are motorsport photographers and fans that love all types of motorsports, and we come here and we talk about our experience is being photographers, and we give you updates and reviews on the latest races and other things that happen in motorsport.
Hey, what's up? I'm Chris. I forgot about the intro this week because it's still new. And when you hit live, I was waiting for you to do the intro, like your intro, and that came on, and I jumped so far out of my chair the dogs got up and were worried. So.
Yeah, that music's a little loud. It is a little jarring.
So
I think we're already getting off the rails, but I think every so often I'm going to change the videos, because right now it's just all dirt videos, and I have video now since this will be a major topic of today. I just got back last night from being in Detroit for the, what the hell do they call it, the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix presented by Lear, because why wouldn't they just call it the Motor City Grand Prix?
Well, ours is like Mid-Ohio's like the Mid-Ohio,
the Honda Indy 200 presented by
the Accord Hybrid this year.
Oh, I wish Chevy would sponsor Mid-Ohio so that way we can actually have a nice looking pace car. Because no offense to the Honda, but
you better watch where you.
Damn, does that Corvette look sexy, and it sounds good. They had like a shit ton of Camaros at. I mean, it's a Chevy sponsored event around Chevy's headquarters, but they had so many Camaros, and actually, I think the Corvettes were IMSA's Corvettes.
Yeah, probably.
Well, sorry. They had two white ones. Those were IMSA's Corvettes, and then they had two red ones. Those were INDYCAR's Corvettes. So they both had Corvettes.
Okay.
And then they had a fleet of Camaros that were official vehicles of the Grand Prix that special people got to ride in.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because didn't they do the parade laps with Camaros then?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So they had the cars were in the stupid pit lane, because it's the thing's the size of a damn football field, literally like width and length, the size of a football field. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. And so they send the Camaros, unleash the Camaros, and the Camaros drive around the track, and then the pace car leads off with the actual cars, and then the Camaros come in, and then the pace car takes them around a couple more times.
So how'd the weekend go?
It was pretty fun. Friday was hot as hell. It was 90 some degrees, and I thought being on the river there would be a nice breeze, it would come off,
Were you wrong?
Oh, I was way wrong. There was no breeze. It was dead air, and it was hot.
And let me remind everyone that probably doesn't know this, we are basically required to wear pants.
Yeah, I mean, I wore shorts on Saturday.
Okay.
Because I mean, I wasn't getting a blue vest, so
yeah.
I mean, it felt a little demeaning to even just be in a green vest because they ran out of red vests.
Yeah.
So it was kind of demeaning to be in which they don't use those anymore, actually.
Really?
Indy, if you're shooting any lower series, you just get a red vest.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's just just give everyone one vest.
When we were at Mid-Ohio last year, there was like a couple people with green vests, weren't there?
Yeah, and
Like,
it's
team,
why you only shoot. And then there were which I think by the end of the week, because they ran out of red vest, since there was IMSA there were some gray vests,
yeah.
and those guys originally were supposed to have a red vest or blue vest over their gray vest to IndyCar. Yeah, at the end of the week, on Sunday, there were no more double vesters. The gray vest just became
A vest.
a red vest at that point. If you wanted to go over the wall still, which it's so stupid. If you're able to go over the wall in IMSA where you have to wear a freaking fire suit and helmet,
Yeah.
why would you not be allowed over the wall in IndyCar where they're just like short sleeves and long pants?
Yeah.
You're good. What's fire? And so yeah, gray vests were just red and green vests. And so as long as you just had a vest on that said photo and it wasn't blue, then you were good to go anywhere besides over the wall. Which speaking of instances, we'll just start off here because this is an issue that I had. So being a temporary circuit, they had the the weird walls. You see them on TV all the time where it's just fences stuck into concrete barriers.
Yeah.
And so I think it was turn 2. On the outside of turn 2, they had a remote camera there earlier in the weekend, but on Sunday it wasn't there anymore. And this was during the Indy Next race. And so I'm there. So now there's just a hole, which is great because I wanted to shoot from there the other day, and I did because the camera was just going one way. And so I was using that hole, and then some other guy walked up. And so there's like the fence post is at the bottom running horizontal, and then it's just the hole. And then there's like a screw on the other side of the horizontal post, track side, where the camera had been mounted previously. And this guy proceeds to take out his phone and lean it up against that bolt on the track side of the fence, on top of the wall. And then the Indy Next cars come by, and I'm just standing there like, what the hell did you just do? This is something that they tell us do not do.
Do not do. Yeah, this is like the biggest no-no.
On top of, against, or anywhere. Don't put anything on the other side of the fence. And so the cars come by, and he goes and grabs his phone, and he's looking at me like, oh man, that was, I almost lost my phone, is what the look he's giving. And I said, yeah, I probably wouldn't do that ever again if I were you. I said, have you done this before? And he said, no, this is my first time. I said, yeah, you ever do that again and the wrong person sees you, you won't ever do this again. So I think I scared the crap out of him from losing credentials for life, probably. And I was like, and I told him, a car could hit that wall because you're on the outside of a turn. At the end of a turn, a car could hit that wall. That phone could become a projectile and fly out, hit me, hit you, or it could fall onto the track
and you
just
aren't
being vibrated
back.
And then a car could hit that. A car could wreck. It could shoot the tire, could shoot the phone out and hit a car, hit a driver, and that could cause, that could influence the race, and I was just like, dude, like that's, and he was like, man, I never thought about that. Like, were you not in the photo meeting?
I was gonna say,
you have a vest.
The safety meeting, that's what a good 5-minute topic.
Yeah, it's like literally there's like,
that's like rule number 1.
There's like a few rules in IndyCar, and they're very simple. If you don't have a blue vest, don't go over the wall. And don't put anything against any fence or wall, or lean your bag, no tripods. It's very simple rules to follow. Just don't be stupid. And so another rule is to not perform fan activities when you're a photographer. And so that we're coming off of Victory Lane. It's the podium ceremony has happened, and I'm standing on the track. And to go, so if you cross the track at the point where the winner's circle is, there's a hidden door that goes up to the media center. And so I use that a lot over the weekend. And so Felix Rosenquist is coming across the track to go up for the press conference. And this, I don't know if it's a local photographer or what, but she looked like she had never shot IndyCar before. And she stops him and gets a selfie with Rosenquist. And then he's going to walk away, and she puts her arms out for a hug and hugs Rosenquist. And I'm like, what the just happened? Like,
yeah,
that is. And so that one actually, I don't know why that one pissed me off more than the phone being over a wall. Probably because it's like
it's the
such
most
a violation of being a professional in media. It is to, these people are trying to do their jobs. You're not there to be a fan. Yes, you can fan out and geek out all you want when you're standing there and your driver's like going for the lead or on the podium.
Yeah.
But you have to contain it. You have to be professional. And so I actually told the photographer coordinator about it. And I said, like, vest whatever. I won't out her vest number. But and he was like, look at me like, really? And I was like, yeah, I just wanted to let you know. And he was like, no, thank you. Like, I'm definitely going to be looking up her information to
that's
to figure that out. Because I was like, and Felix was even looking like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I wonder if that's one of those ones where it's, you kind of think they'll get away with it. The race is over, the weekend's over,
No, your vest is still on.
Yeah.
You're still working. If that vest is on, you're still working.
Yeah.
If you want to pop that credential off, you want to take your vest off and do it, that's fine. But if you're having that vest on, no. People are watching. Other photographers are going to tell on you because you're going to ruin it for the rest of us.
So, did you watching through the weekend of that IMSA and Trans Am? Were you in a corner for any craziness or?
No, I wasn't. It sucks. Actually, I think it was IMSA's No, it was the race on. They had a race on Friday, didn't they? They had two races.
I think
they
so.
Just have. So I think it was IMSA race on, or it might have been qualifying or something.
Yeah.
But it was IMSA, and I was actually in the same turn where the guy put his phone. I was shooting through the spot where the camera was, and a car clipped the wall. So there's
an example right
there's
there.
An example. And as a car clipped the wall, it scared the shit out of me because I wasn't, I'm got my eye up to the the viewfinder shooting the other way, and the car's just boom, oh, and it was just a glancing blow and ran off. And then we noticed that there was a big chunk of carbon fiber from its wing just sitting on the track. And so they had these volunteers, these red shirts. You might see them in the broadcast. These volunteers, and he went and ran over to the corner marshals and said, "Hey, look, there's like a piece of carbon fiber like in the racing line." They didn't do shit about it. And then a car hit it.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you guys only care about IndyCar.
It's so funny, and I've been kind of teasing you with this all day. During the IndyCar race yesterday, and I don't remember who it was, but the two cars that stuffed themselves into the wall during the race yesterday.
Was it Ray Hall when it was under caution in turn one?
No, it might have been during race conditions. I don't remember. I was going to watch highlights, so I didn't do this, but
Grosjean stuffed himself.
No, I think it was two cars, but there's a guy videoing down this way, looking down the track. Like cars come around the turn and they both go into the wall. And I'm pausing my TV to see if it's you because that would be our luck.
That's my luck every freaking week.
How many
When we
wrecks have we missed
in
because
dirt?
we're both
A lot.
looking left?
Yeah.
We're both looking into turn 4 and it happens in turn 3. But I'm like trying to frantically pause to see if it's you or if I could see it happened to be someone with like long hair. And I didn't realize at first they were videoing with, it was a Canon. It had a white lens on it and a monitor. But so he's videoing down the track. The wreck happens in front of him. You see him scramble to grab, I'm guessing, his second camera to take pictures or videos of it. And I was like, oh my God, that would so be Kyle right now, where he's, you're waiting to get this great shot of them coming off the turn and they wreck in front of you. And you're like, well.
So I think it might have been qualifying. Yeah, I think it was qualifying when Devlin crashed.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell he crashed because it was kind of coming off of a turn, but it was kind of on a straightaway. But I was literally the only photographer with like a clear view of the wreck. And I didn't catch him doing it because I was doing slow pans. It always happens. These wrecks always happen when I'm doing pans. And I wasn't doing pans that often there because it's so hard. And I was the only one there to get like his reaction, like his devastated look and everything, because everyone else was on the other side where the car was against.
Yeah.
And then I think there was only one photographer in turn 3 when the IMSA cars had their crazy wreck. And like, how lucky is that to get that shot?
That Turner driver that just kept going.
Oh my God, that was crazy. Like, because I only seen it like on a big screen, and I watched the highlights on my phone, and I was like, oh my God, he just went for it. He just kept going. That was
great. My boss is into racing, and we were talking about that today. Like, nothing says hammer down like just, driving over top of another car and just keep going. Yeah, forget the fact that your splitters.
He didn't go much longer after that.
I told you IMSA and the Pilot Series was going to be probably one of the best races of the weekend.
The Trans Am race was freaking good.
Hey,
both days.
We're 3 weeks away from Trans Am.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting, and the Trans Am cars probably sounded the best out of any car because they just have that throaty stock car sound. It is just rumbling through the streets of Detroit and echoing off the buildings. Oh man, like especially when you were in like a parking garage trying to get a shot.
Oh yeah, just echoing off everything.
And I would like take out my earbud for a second, and then I would be like, "Oh no, put that back in. That's loud." And then you would see some people just standing trackside with their fingers in their ears. Put some damn earbuds in.
Which way do I hate trying to do things in a. Oh, maybe it's up in the corner. One of my favorite pictures I've ever taken was Trans Am at Mid-Ohio last year in the S's. I stood there for probably 10 to 15 laps to get just this one car shooting the flame out.
Oh, yeah. And that was the coolest thing.
That was before I had credentials. I shot that through the fence.
Damn.
And got the flames popping out. So,
yeah, I'm going to definitely try to get that better at Mid-Ohio because there's more room to see when they're coming around. Just looking through the fence like,
that
coming.
We know the spots. We know, where you can get close, where you'll be to, get some of that action. So
I'm definitely going to go to the carousel.
Oh yeah.
I did not make it over there at all last season.
Yeah, you'll have to go on it would be the outside.
Okay,
of
that's
the
easier to get to.
yeah. So
So
yeah,
when
and
you're
you
on the
can
inside, you are in the farthest in of the
yeah,
track that you can be.
but
Well, actually,
y-
no. I would argue that the bottom of the S's is the farthest in
yeah.
you can be because there's no bridge or anything.
Uh,
Because you can
to
take the
the
Thunder Valley Bridge if you
to
need
the
to.
race itself yesterday.
I I was not expecting. Well,
Yeah,
first of all, I didn't realize how good of a race it was or how bad of a race it was when I'm there
that's
because
the worst part of shooting a
you
race
know
is you don't
I'm
know.
I'm not paying attention to really who's in the lead or anything. I'm just trying to get good shots of the cars. I had race control on my, on the scanner you let me borrow. And, so I was listening to it and I would hear like, okay, cars in here, full course yellow, or whatever. Uh, I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on, or I couldn't see anything that was happening or any good moves or anything. But
Yeah.
I watched the highlights and I was like, oh wow, that was better than I expected it to be. Way better. Like we had a race that was on par with I think St. Pete in
Yeah.
action.
Yeah, I, had a busy off weekend, not shooting anything this weekend, and I had really only read about the track just a little bit, and then what I had heard from you, uh, prior to the race on Sunday, so I wasn't expecting much yesterday when I turned that
No,
race on.
it didn't.
And
Throughout practice and qualifying, there was no real hope for the track. It was, not slick, but if you were going for a runoff, you just go straight into the runoffs, especially turn 1, 3, and 8 were the
yeah.
big problem children of the weekend. Where, I think in the Indy Next qualifying or practice on day one, I think 10 times it happened in turn 1. And like there were so many full
The
course yellows and red flags over the weekend. It was insane. Just cars would get either stuck in a turn in a runoff, or like something stupid would happen. So it was definitely a challenging course. And I actually saw an interview that Will Power did, and he said, the track was hard, but it was
yeah.
good racing. Or no, sorry, it was Scott Dixon that said
Yeah.
it. And he said it was hard, but it was good racing. And the only thing that he was a little upset about was how he finished that day. And he said it was a good time. Like the drivers loved it. Going into the race though, the alternate tires were kind of shredding pretty bad. You can see it on TV. The the off line just was marbled to hell and back.
Yeah.
Like it just looked like black polka dots all over the place. Um, so that was kind of an issue, and that's probably why a lot of cars going for a move just ended up not being in a good spot because of the tire fall off of the alternates and all the marbles. But it was, I mean, Will Power made some amazing moves. And then you had it seemed like turn 3 was the place to make a
Oh
move.
yeah. Yeah.
You're going off that long straight into that kind of a hairpin
You made
turn.
one of the longest straights in IndyCar this year.
Yeah, it was. Trust me, I walked it many times,
I
and I
think
accidentally went on the outside and walked that all the way down. I was like, "There's nowhere to shoot over here, damn it!" And then I found a bridge to cross over to the Rensen, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm never going over there again."
it's like trying to get to from the Thunder Valley Bridge to the S's in the northern Northwoods campgrounds
Yeah,
at
that's a
Mid Ohio.
long way.
There's no photo holes
There's
because
black spots on
I
the
was going to
fence.
say they redid the fence, so there's only black spots.
Maybe there will be some holes cut this year. You didn't go down there during WRL, did you?
No, because they had all the gates closed. And I had my bike, and I didn't want to leave my bike at the gate.
Pick your bike up and
or take it over there. But I was just like, I already know what's over there. I don't remember seeing much when I was at over in like the S's through Thunder Valley, if there were things cut in, because all I really cared about was getting into the safety truck area of the S's.
Oh yeah.
And then once the gate was closed and all of that kind of stuff, I was just like, I already know what's over there.
Yeah, I
Whenever.
like that inside of the S's where where the safety trucks are. That's a good spot.
So yeah, I was gonna. Okay, 2 questions. Bringing up willpower, did you get to meet Flava Flav?
I did. Well, he walked right past me.
Okay, so you at least got to see Flava Flav.
Yeah, so I mean, I was right next to Flava Flav, and then I saw him at the Steve Aoki concert on stage, which I was backstage adjacent for that.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was the only media met. Well, there were a couple like local that were working for the
Yeah.
GP, but I was the only one that wasn't working for the GP that was back there. And at one point, before I went backstage adjacent, I walked up and right next to the barriers off to the side. I'm just standing there and I look over and there's this guy dressed in all black with a black hat on. And I'm looking, I'm like, man, he looks familiar. And then he like looks down and sees that I have a badge on and he must have seen that it said media and he like waves. And I was like, oh fuck, that's Connor Daly. I was just like, and then I asked him, I was like, there was like a little tiny break in the music. I said, what the hell are you doing out here and not backstage?
Yeah.
And he said, I came late. Steve had texted me and I don't want to just barge up there. I'm like, you're fucking Connor Daly.
Yeah, right.
This is your event. This is your week. You are one of 27 people that can do whatever the fuck you want in this area this weekend. And you're just like, oh, I don't want to go up there. I'm not one to make a scene. That's
awesome.
You just show your freaking INDYCAR hard card where it says driver and just go.
Yeah, that
just like what?
Yeah,
and so I'm just standing there, we're both crossed armed because I'm not big into techno, and we're just standing there just kind of head bobbing. I'm just hanging with Connor Daly, just
and like we've talked about this before. I think that's one of the great things about. Oh, by the way, everybody, this is Crowley. This is one of my roommates.
It's a new dog for this week.
Yeah, he kind of just snuck in my room, and I wasn't sure. So I went up to get something to drink, and I come back in, and I was like, "How'd you get in here?" But yeah, we've talked about it before. That's one of the more exciting things about IndyCar. Sometimes is that you can just run into a driver somewhere.
Yeah,
we talked about it camping at Mid-Ohio, the drivers going around the campgrounds, and you randomly run into Roger Penske in the paddock.
Yeah, and so there's a hotel that's inside of the Rensen, and it's the Marriott, and a lot of the drivers and teams and stuff were staying in there. Probably why I couldn't get a room in there, and it was super expensive. And so I just saw Marcus Ericsson just standing by the elevators, and I was going over a bridge early in the morning over to the paddock, and so they all had to take the same way, and Felix is just like unfolding a scooter as he's getting, and I'm like, good morning, Felix, and then I saw Roman Grosjean trying to fix his scooter in the paddock. Nobody else is around. It's weird to be around all these people.
Yeah, it's weird that it's one of those things where you're like, oh wait, they are normal people.
I was just about to say that. Like, you see them on TV and you give them like this superstar godlike status because you're like, oh my god, that's Will Power, or like that's Joseph Newgarden,
or that's Connor Daly, and then you stand next to him and he's too awkward to go stand on
like,
stage,
what?
And you're
like, in a sense, I had more balls to go backstage than Connor Daly. Like, Excuse me, sir. You're Connor Daly.
Yeah.
Your stepdad is the president of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Like, you're not a slouch of a driver.
You work for Dale Jr. Your podcast
Yeah,
is
it's
yeah,
like
I think that's one of the funniest things, or even, and I've brought it up before. I know to you, I don't know about if you listen to the Dale Jr. download, how much he is just a normal dude. He's
well,
just a
they
normal
all are.
dude. Yeah.
Like Will Power was saying that, all of his friends back home were like, "Oh my god, you got to hang out with Flava Flav." Like, nobody cares that he's a race car driver. They were
Yeah,
just
no
like,
one.
"Oh my god, you hung out." Like, this guy's a two-time champion now
Yeah.
and Indy 500 winner, and they're like, "Oh my gosh," like,
Yeah, that's old news. I mean, we're going to talk about Flava Flav,
yeah,
someone who hasn't been relevant in at
ever.
least 10 years from his bad reality TV show
Yeah.
and 30 years musically. So,
Yeah, and Will was going on with the uh they asked him in the press conference if there were any was it Public Enemy was
yeah.
if there were any Public Enemy songs that stuck with him for this weekend, and I guess he said that he had told uh Flava Flav that he was all of the other people are going to have to fight the power. It's like, oh my god, he was in a good mood in that press conference. He was not in a good mood in the media bullpen. I think I pissed him off, but he's and I don't want this to come off in a bad way, but he's just an awkward guy, Will Power, and he has a temper too, because like I guess um he was waiting to talk to the national media, like the traveling media that goes with
Yeah.
them, and then Marcus Erickson just like cut off went on, and I guess he's like making faces like this fucking guy. It's just funny.
See, I feel that because it's like, oh wait, he's just as grumpy as I am.
Yeah,
Like,
and I tell you, the most fun driver that I got to talk to was probably Ferrucci. Like, he was just
I could
a
see that.
good,
Yeah.
happy dude. Like, he was just vibing. He was just,
I
like,
could see
he
that.
seemed
Yeah.
almost as happy to be talking to me. Like, it didn't feel like that fake media face that they have to put on. Like, he's
Yeah,
just a
that
happy, friendly guy. Um, a driver I didn't expect to be as kind of, I don't want to say douchey, but kind of douchey. And it hurts really bad because he's the only driver that I own a jersey for, and it was Pato. He's just you would think this he would be such a nice and happy guy, but he's so totally not. Like, he just
I
seems kind of
wonder.
stuck up. He only talked to the national media. He didn't talk to any of the digital media or anything. And it was just kind of like, what makes you so special?
Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of, I guess they say, don't, I wouldn't call him my hero, but don't meet your,
Yeah. Don't meet.
people that you
Yeah.
are, you idolize, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Um, that was probably the most like horrible moment was like, oh, he's just kind of,
Uh, which
Stingray Rob was kind of weird too.
he's a rookie. He's got to kind
Yeah,
of. I don't know. I don't know if the
he was
IndyCar
nice.
guys are quite as like groomed for the job as say some of the NASCAR rookies are and stuff.
Yeah,
Like you see stuff of like Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs and stuff where they've just, they've had a media coach since they were 14 years old telling them how to do this stuff. You don't get the raw kind of emotion and feel to it.
another one that didn't feel, because I know some of these guys. I know, not saying that any of these guys are this way, but people like Grosjean or Dixon or some of these guys have been doing this such a long time, and they
Yeah.
probably get asked the same questions all the time. So they have their media face, and they've been coached for a long time, especially Grosjean coming from F1. They're super strict on what the media and what they're able to say. And maybe that's the issue with Pato is, McLaren is such a big name and stuff, and their media is kind of strict because they have that F1 connection. But Joseph Newgarden was such a vibe. Like, I know he's probably feeling really good.
I was gonna say he's about on the top of the racing world right now.
So he was really cool when I got to interview him. It was just 3 of us that were left, and he stuck around to talk to us, which was really cool. So yeah, I didn't really get to meet Scotty Mack, or I got to speak. I think I got to speak to Dixon. I didn't get to speak to Ericsson. Probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing I didn't talk to Pato or Ericsson, because the questions I wanted to ask were probably not the nicest of questions, and I probably would have just made
They're
them
just
mad
gonna look at you like,
and
who are
leave.
you?
Like, excuse me, Mr. Digital Media.
Yeah.
Like, so it's probably a good thing I didn't get to talk to them, because they weren't going to be too. I mean, they weren't going to be like mean, or demeaning. Like, just wanted to ask Pato if he's learned any patience after. Apparently not.
Yeah, apparently not at all after,
because he just decided to, I don't know. Well, first of all, the team screwed up and didn't tighten the freaking wheel nut on.
Oh my God.
Wheel nut. Come on.
Did you get to see the replay of that?
Which one? When he crashed into turn 9?
No, when he was taking off after that pit stop.
And the wheels just wobbling.
Yeah, okay. So in NASCAR, they all have cameras on their helmets and stuff. So they know before they're even out of pit road if the wheel nut was left loose. How they don't know this in INDYCAR when
they don't have cameras on their helmets.
It's one guy, you have one job.
Yeah.
Is to tighten and loosen that nut.
Because don't they have,
in NASCAR you have multiple jobs sometimes.
because INDYCAR, I was trying to think, it's a 6-person team, right? Or
it's more like an F1 where everyone kind of
so you have
like 6 to 8 people.
Yeah.
So
I think F1 has literally like 12 people
unlimited,
over the wall.
An entire army.
And then NASCAR's probably the most limited.
Yeah.
But he hasn't learned patience. Okay, so this is really off topic, and I was listening to Felix talk in a press conference, and man, I really want him to say I'm a slippery snake. Because it's just he's Swedish, right?
Yeah.
It's just the accent that I really just want him to say, because he has that that up and down kind of thing going on. I keep thinking I really want to hear him say it.
Now here's a question for you, and maybe this will help anyone that's listening. How game-changing was it to have a scanner?
It was amazing. So I didn't listen to IndyCar radio or any of the driver radios. I actually found the channel for race control.
Yeah.
And that was extremely helpful because, at the start, they waved it off. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to be like up and ready to get the freaking shot. And it was just nice to know what was going on track, because a lot of the times when you're just there, you don't have it, you just have your earplugs in, you're like, cool, I don't know what the hell's going on. And at least with the race control, I knew what was going on. Race control is kind of snarky sometimes too.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times for one of the NASCAR events I went to, I listened to Race Control, and it was like, ooh.
Yeah, so apparently after the IndyCar race, because Victory Lane was in the dumbest spot ever, because Chevrolet
Yeah, you got to have
spent a lot of money to have their thing in the background, which unless you have a fisheye or like a 14 millimeter, you're not gonna get it in the shot from as far as back as we were. So they had to drive another 2 laps around. So they would get the checkered flag at pit road, and then they would have to drive around to get back into the pits. And the other one, the 3 podium drivers, the top 3 drivers, were supposed to drive another lap around. And so apparently, I think it was Kirkwood and someone else, and Race Control comes over and like, all right, we're still on hold because apparently the 27 and the other ones think that they're on the podium. It's just like, whoa. And I think the drivers can hear this too. Like it's one of the things that they can hear inside their helmet.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude. And then Indy Lights, they're pretty strict. Like one of the car's transponders weren't working, and then another car didn't come in for their penalty right away.
Yeah.
And they were like, if car blank blank does not come in after this time, they will receive the black flag. Damn.
You get 1 lap and 1 lap only.
Yeah, or like car whatever I think it was Kirkwood. Car 27, you have damage, you need to come in this lap.
Which is good. I mean, you don't have like a NASCAR thing where someone drives around for 3 laps hoping a body panel falls off to cause a caution.
Yeah, so they're like, no, you need to come in now.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the freaking IndyCar has one of the best safety teams in motorsport. Yeah. Those guys and gals are freaking beasts. They like get things cleaned up so quick. They're absolutely fast compared to like F1. F1's like, where are they at? NASCAR even sometimes is like, okay, where are they at?
Yeah.
But I think IndyCar and IMSA have the best ones. I think they're all sponsored by AMR these days, though.
Yeah. Which is funny. My dad worked for AMR for 20 years, and it's like, you had these chances and you never did anything?
But so actually IMSA only had 1 safety truck, but they had 2 rapid response vehicles. And I tell you what, those are Porsches.
Yeah, the Porsches.
And they have very nice exhaust systems. And
I remember
like
at Mid-Ohio last year, they do like hot laps in those before the races, and or like after an incident or something. You'd see them flying around the track at like driver's top speed.
Oh, it's even crazier when you see one of the big ass loaded down IndyCar safety trucks just like, holy hell. How's this? You must have amazing suspension on that truck to not flip it.
Yeah. But all you're texting me this weekend, I was like, man, I'm so jealous.
You're gonna have to come next year.
Yes. It makes me so excited for our Mid-Ohio trips coming up. Like,
makes me really happy that I don't have to cover everything by myself.
I'm like chomping at the bit to get out there. Like, I know we've got Vintage the first weekend, so we can cover Trans Am. We can kind of get our
F4, F regional.
Yeah, we've got a good weekend to get our bearings down, to get ready to have margaritas and get going. We don't want a repeat of my margaritas on Saturday, but we're gonna mean, I can argue with you too. So,
But so,
I think we'll like this year. We've become where we're becoming more comfortable with this. You going out there this past weekend, you've even more than last year, we're learning how these events happen, that we'll be able to cover everything. I'm not going to waste my time this year, trying to take every picture I need to of every support series because INDYCAR brings so many support series.
yeah, I mean, there were some points where I was like, oh, I think the Trans Am race I didn't even shoot one of them because I was just like,
You're so tired. You're just
it's
like,
like I just halfway through the IndyCar race, it was literally around lap 53. I can't remember. I think that was where Ray Hall crashed under caution.
yeah,
Come on, man.
the guy that just can't catch a break.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I had went up to the media center because it was on my way on the side that I was walking. And
Yeah.
so I went up there and had a water, sat down, watched it on the big screen in at my desk, and got up and went back out there. And that's a nice thing. It was a 100-lap race. So it was like 2 hours or something
Yeah.
like that. So, you get all your artsy shit during practices and qualifying. And then
Well, I mean,
during the race, you're just trying to get that good action shot.
last year we spent probably 10 laps sitting under the your dad's like canopy thing at like mid race. We're both just like, I need water and Gatorade. And
yeah, there was a couple times where I found myself on the wrong side of a fence and I couldn't get anywhere. And so one time I had to go through the fan village. And so Electrolit is a sponsor of Pato and McLaren. And so they were set up and they were giving out free samples. And so I took a couple of them and just downed them because I needed some electrolytes.
Yeah.
I need some Brondo.
Well, and
for all you fans of Idiocracy.
Brando, it's what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
I think that'll be the nice thing because I know if NASCAR's any of the NAS trucks are the same as last year, you have big gaps to fill in between everything. So we'll be able to go to the media center or like back to the campsite or whatever to kind of, we can work through things, take a break, catch our breaths, whatever.
Yeah. This weekend, I did not. I was so either wore out or busy trying to get photographs that I couldn't even do any kind of like video reports or talks to camera.
It's so funny.
I was just like,
I messaged you
screw this
Saturday. I'm like, hey, send me a zip if you can.
I did it Sunday morning and I emailed it to you, but you just must never checked your email.
Damn it. Don't tell me.
Because Sunday morning I got into the media center around 7 a.m. and then was doing an upload on
oh, did you send it to my actual email? Not
yeah. Because I figured you would check that one before you would check the other one. Like you always do.
I get notifications now for our actual one.
That's good.
I was able to turn them on now. Dude, that
I know that app is a pain.
I was gonna say we're kind of on random tangent, but yeah, that app for the longest time, like
I don't want to pay for Outlook.
Well, no, you had wanted me like before the season started to add the calendar to it. And I think I tried 5 or 6 different times to add my calendar to it.
Well, I've added you to my Google Calendar.
And I even had the calendar app. And it just wouldn't work for me every time. And I was just like, I give up. But I'll go through my email and I'll edit some of those or all of them or whatever this week because
Yeah, and that's
That
not
was
even
a big sneeze. I
so
don't know.
when
Did the mic catch that?
Yes, it did.
That was a
So-
big sneeze.
So when you see this, just remember that is just some of day 2. I have so many pictures,
Well, and that's
which is annoying. And but yeah, it's go ahead.
I
'Cause
was gonna say one nice thing is now I've almost streamlined a lot of my editing stuff. Now the question is,
this is Felix.
yeah, he's attached to me at all times.
He's not named after the IndyCar driver, guys. He is not.
um I've kind of streamlined it, but that's also for dirt racing. A lot of sunny, nice things. We'll have to see. Maybe before then I'll have to like vintage weekend is just going to be our test where I have to figure out presets and edit settings for that so we can
Chris is just always playing with his wiener during these.
yes 24/7. If I'm home, I'm touching my wiener. That's gonna be real awkward for someone not watching the video.
Yeah, it's gonna be really awkward for the podcast listeners,
Um
and we're not gonna explain it.
Yeah, I think this year we're gonna be set up a lot better for these events where I'm not trying to shoot everything possible.
Yeah,
You know, that I would say that's been, and I've worked on it the last couple of weeks of dirt racing where I'm like, you know what? I'm here to shoot World of Outlaws. I'm not going to waste another 200 to 300 pictures
on econo mods.
On econo mods.
Hardly anybody was shooting those.
I know. I
so, felt bad a little bit.
I have to remember I'm not a track photographer trying to get a picture of everyone. So because everyone's 80 years old, so they can print it out in a 4x6 and put it in a scrapbook.
I told that to one of the people in the media center, and they were like, "You have to be kidding me." I said, "No, this is just how they do it."
Yeah,
I said, and the sad thing is, people buy them, but
I don't know if it's just strictly. We've had this discussion
short
before.
track
a northeastern Ohio, short track.
Maybe somebody did it to start with, and then they've just
it's all you could do back in the day, and we've discussed this before. You and I have this conversation all the time that no one evolves. None of the track photographers, none of these some of these people we've met that are, and this is, I mean, this includes us, but that are small time, they're still taking pictures like they did with the film camera, that they know these settings work. I'm only going to use these settings. There is no experimentation. There is nothing new. It's a still photo. It's the same. You know, we talked to a guy. He said all he does is just adjusts contrast, adds his watermark, and ships them. There's no artistic value to it whatsoever.
Yeah,
you ship them out with your name on them, and hey, that'll do. And people they'll buy the prints from him. They'll do these things, and it's, you know, we talk about it where there's times where you might look at something, we'll joke and compare some photos sometimes, and it's a night and day difference. Someone who's been shooting a track for X amount of years, and then us two yahoos who walk in,
us darn millennials. And it's not even a millennial thing, because I've seen some people younger than us, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, I
just copy and paste what the other people are doing.
And I'm not trying to talk bad about anybody. If that's what you like, that's what you like. You know, you're getting the job done. You're making money off of it. You're doing it. More power to you, because I've sold one picture.
But you're not going to get, which somebody message or I talked to before was like, yeah, I submitted my photos to NASCAR and I got credentials. And I'm just like, you don't have to submit photos to get
Yeah.
credentials to things. And that I looked at they showed me the photo and I was like, oh, then I'm in the clear. That's for sure.
And that's the thing. We talked about it today. Both of us, we're always pushing to get better. You met with you talked to people all weekend to try, people teaching you things, learning a little trick. I think if we both, every time we go out, we learn a new trick or whatever we do, I've talked about it. I need to stop focusing on pans, because all I want to do all day is slow pans, because slow pans look the best.
Man,
But you know what a lot of my best pictures are?
high shutter.
Those times I crank that high shutter up. If you look at the wall behind me, four of the 5 pictures on this wall behind me, they're all high shutter.
I was craving pans this weekend. Street circuits, which I did some really creative ones where I was shooting through a fence, like a foot away from the fence, which is even more tricky. And I manually focused, and I was just using my 24-70 at this point, and it was on the little straight in between 3 and 4, and I was doing some slow pans there, and it looked good. You can't see the fence.
Yeah,
because the camera just kind of ignores the fence.
I was gonna say, for any would-be photographers, if anyone ever listens to this, and you want advice, don't spend the money on a good body. Get yourself a 2.8 lens.
Matter.
Just 2.8 everything.
Because I am proof you can shoot good pictures on consumer grade DSLRs.
Yeah,
you can shoot amazing pictures.
I love my full frame, but let me tell you, half the time this thing is such a pain in the ass, because the sensor's so sensitive that you have your ISO is just slightly out of the rule of thirds, and everything's screwed up. So yeah, I love this thing. But you know what's the best? This 2.8 here. And it doesn't even have to be...
It doesn't have to be new.
Tangent. It doesn't have to be new, because Kyle and I are both shooting on basically the first generation Tamron meant for Nikon AF.
And there's I tell everyone that I know. I've told you. I've told this guy that we hang out with, shooting at the dirt races locally, that there's 2 great websites that I've used and I've bought stuff from, and it's mpb.com and keh.com, which KEH is really funny to me because those are my initials, so I always remember that one. And they have great used camera equipment that you can buy. You can buy a good lens for a fraction of what you could buy a new one. And don't think that you need a name brand lens. You don't need you don't need a Canon lens for a Canon camera. You don't need a freaking Sony. You can use any type of lens basically with an adapter. But get like a Tamron or a
Sigma,
or there's even like not Zycus, or
the Amazon one.
There's these especially for like If you don't need autofocus, you can get a
you
third
can
part.
get anything.
You can get a fifth party lens, is what I'll call them.
So this made me think of something. You'll see at INDYCAR events the Canon vests. How many Canon shooters were there? Because this is a conversation we have.
So I will say this. All of the photographers that worked directly for INDYCAR
Were Canon.
and the infamous, well, he's not infamous. He's pretty cool. I thought he was an a-hole last year, but once somebody explained the situation about him, I was like, oh, Mr. Vest number 3. They all shot Canon.
I mean, really,
But
at the end
there
of
were a lot of Nikon users, but
I think really at the end of the
INDYCAR
day
is primarily Canon. There
I
was
think
some weird people that were locals that don't normally shoot motorsports, and they had, like a Fuji, or there was one guy doing video of the lower series. He had a freaking red with like a super lens with an IR AI freaking follow focus thing that like maps the face and follow. What the? I said, I was like, you don't shoot motorsports often, do you? And he was like, no, this is the only time. I can tell. Because we all just use
really
basic ass equipment.
At the end of the day, the only real difference is color preferences.
Yeah, I mean, if you're, I think Sony has the best colors.
Yeah, you're just paying Sony prices, and then the stigma of being a Sony shooter.
Yeah, the iCup exists, guys. Especially you freaking mirrorless guys. I get that you can, and I get it's not much different than the screen at
on
that
a mirrorless.
Point.
Yeah, it's just the same exact thing.
But you just look like a douche when you're just holding it up.
Well, really,
which I hate, because my little Z30 that I use on here and I use for video, because it's a good little camera. It's just made for content creation. It doesn't have a viewfinder, and it drives me insane.
Really, at the end of the day, all it is we're now just grumpy old boomers who are just like, you can't use your phone, you can't use your camera like you do your phone.
How do you do? Like, if I'm gonna take a picture, if I'm gonna take a picture that way, I'm just gonna use my phone, because it's about the same freaking thing at that point.
Yeah, we're just
like,
now,
I want to see it in my eyepiece.
We're becoming our fathers, where we're like, you damn kids.
So the one thing I saw that was genius, and I might steal this idea, because it's hard to see on the back of your screen.
Yeah.
If everything's in focus. This guy carried around a little magnifying thing that, like, a little square it was probably used for like film back in the day.
Yeah.
And he would put it up to the back of his camera, and he could see perfect detail of the picture that he just took. And I was like, that is
entirely too much work for me, because like we've said, whenever we did Outlaws late models, I actually went through and deleted the ones I knew were just not gonna make the cut.
A lot of these guys, which is incredible, have I hate this word, but dongles on their camera that automatically send their photos straight to an FTP site.
Yeah.
From wherever they are, and send it to a server. So that way a remote editor can download them. And so they're just taking pictures every day, and they don't have to upload a single one, because it automatically just uploads it to the cloud or whatever.
I talked about with what I want to do with some of our plans coming up this summer is, I'm going to have my laptop at the track, get another external hard drive, so I'm not bringing my good one with me, and just every day upload what I can onto the external, grab what photos I need, and then just That way, everything is just as we go throughout the weekend, everything's right there.
I mean, there were a couple times, especially right after ILOT crashed, that I wish the one you gave me, I cannot. It just doesn't work.
Oh yeah, that
it's a pain
if
in
you're
the
a
ass.
photographer, never buy the Vivitar
Card reader. It's
card
a
reader
piece of
from
shit.
Walmart. Yeah, don't do it.
So my $10 one that I bought from Amazon, the one that I lost, and I know as soon as I buy this new one
You'll
and find it, and I'm not going to return it. I'm going to keep both of them.
Yeah.
And one will stay here at home, and one will just be in my camera bag permanently. I really wanted to upload the picture of Ilot's car after that wreck, and I couldn't because I didn't have a card reader with me, and all these other guys are
you
just...
literally had a remote editor all weekend.
I know.
You could have literally just sent me any picture, and I would have been like, ba 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 ba, and posted it.
I know. We need so there this is my ZipRecruiter. We need a volunteer. You're just coming in at the building stages of this organization. But we need a remote editor, and then we also need
a writer.
A writer who could just write stuff. We can get you into tracks. We have 2 brand names that we can use. So you can just work for Ohio Motorsports or From the Infield. There are 2 different brands, and even though we use them interchangeably almost always.
I know that's sometimes I like want to post pictures, or I've started trying to work on a couple TikToks lately, and I'm like, where do I post this? So then I just post them to my TikTok and do links in bio, and everything's watermarked. Every one of my pictures is watermarked, so it's there. But I'm like, links in bio, because you post TikToks on the From the Infield account.
Well, Ohio Motorsports doesn't have a TikTok.
Okay.
Because I figured that brand wouldn't translate as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of just keeping Ohio Motorsports to photography.
Yeah.
And then From the Infield is obviously FTI is From the Infield. If you didn't catch that one, watching or listening to this. And so, it's just a better brand name. And that's the one I went under for INDYCAR, which confused a lot of people.
Or Ohio
From the Infield.
Okay.
Because I'm going to use that for all the national series. Because it's just, it works better. At Mid-Ohio, we can get away with both.
Yeah.
Because Ohio. But yeah, when people were asking me, are you shooting for a team? No, I'm shooting for From the Infield. And they're like, what's that? It's my company.
2 idiots with a podcast.
2 idiots. Just like, yeah, my business partner didn't want to come to this race. And they're looking at me like, what?
He's a little tired sometimes.
He's a little stupid for not coming.
But yeah, then I spend all weekend being like, what the hell? Why did I say?
And all you had to do, and we could have shared a hotel room.
Yeah,
my hotel room was freaking mess. So I just had a king bed room, but literally it had like this day bed thing that had a trundle. So it was like, this is a 3-bed bedroom. And it was massive. It was the size of my living room and kitchen put together plus.
What was I think it was Friday I happened to talk to your wife, and she was like, well, you should have gone with him. And I was like, no shit, Sherlock. And she was like, I would have went, but I had the kids tonight, and I didn't know what to do while I was up there. And she goes, I thought about just going up with him and just hanging out at the hotel and maybe going to the pool and stuff. And she had said something. She's like, not like all 3 of us could have just slept in his big king size bed. And I was like, yeah, everyone butt to butt. No one, you 2 can spoon, and I'll just sleep butt to butt, and we'll be good.
I'll be the middle spoon.
Yeah,
it's okay.
You'll be the meat in the sandwich. But I was like, it wouldn't have been the first time I slept on a floor, and so yeah, I think next year, 100% have to go.
Oh yeah, it's all I was thinking that this whole weekend was like, damn, it would be so much more fun if Chris was here, like, because then we could.
Divide and
First of all,
conquer.
we could divide and conquer, but then we could like talk shit, and it was just boring because it was just talking to like the other people,
Yeah.
and I'm not on their level at all. So I was either talking to people that were way above my level or like
You're talking to
not
these
even
people.
close to my
Yeah,
level.
you're
Like this
talking to
is their first time shooting motorsports ever.
you're talking
So
to
like
people where
me
you
last year at Mid
follow them
Ohio.
on Instagram, and you're like,
Yeah, I'm just like,
wow,
oh.
if I could get one shot like
Yeah, that
ever.
one,
Yeah.
they're not very
Yeah, there
pleasant.
are ones that they're like, I'm not even gonna send that to the team. That's for my own Instagram.
Yeah, I sent so one of the guys that I was sitting next to had told me that a certain um he's not a motorsports photographer, but he's something else. And he does a lot of IMSA racing,
Does
and
he
he
like Pizza
posts.
Hut?
Yeah, he likes Pizza Hut, and he does TikToks. Um that so the coordinator, the one that hands out the vests.
Yeah.
I guess the first race that the guy went to, this TikToker, um, was Long Beach a couple years ago, and the coordinator came up to him and was like, "Look, I know what you post. Just be careful what you take video of around the track, because IndyCar is now that is one series that has a hard on for licensing."
Yeah.
Like I did not even take a frame of video of an IndyCar on track at
Yeah.
all. I got plenty of videos of IMSA uh and Trans Am, that's for sure.
Coming to TikTok and Instagram near
Coming to
you.
TikTok when I get a chance. But yeah, so it's just so we've talked about IndyCar. Was the NASCAR race any good? Where were they? Portland?
Well, that was Xfinity, which should have been our Mid-Ohio race, because literally, if you go into my Snapchat memories, is me going to the track 2 years ago. So
Sad
yeah,
noises.
which Green Safari, we love them. Taking them, and I mean, I get it. This is a hard one, because I love the Xfinity series, even though I don't think I've gotten to watch an Xfinity race once this year. It cost the teams $30,000. I don't know if it's a team or a car to get out to Portland.
Jesus.
Just to race is $30,000. Now, that might also include going to Sonoma this weekend too, because they can just, if you don't ruin the car or anything like that, I think you can just go straight down to Sonoma and you're good. But not having the Xfinity series, it spreads the Mid-Ohio weekends out, so it's not 3 weekends in a row. Then you end up with almost nothing the rest of the summer at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, and I think GSR likes that though, because they also manage 3 other
Detroit.
IndyCar races. So they do. Well, yeah, they do. No, they don't do Detroit.
Oh, they don't. I thought they did.
They do St. Pete, Mid Ohio, Toronto, and Portland.
Oh, okay.
And then they also run the Mid Ohio School.
I was going to say, because they are the promoters.
How do they do so freaking good of St. Pete, and then they suck at everything else? Come on. How does that happen?
The Cups and Truck were at Gateway this week, St. Louis.
Oh, how'd that go?
Well,
anything notable?
do you mean
We haven't.
after the
I
2-hour
didn't do
lightning
any
delay?
of my fantasy, which
Neither
sucks
did I. So
because I
don't
was so
worry.
freaking busy. We're on par for that one.
After the 2-hour lightning delay, after I guess the internet went down at the track, so teams had no communication or no, SMT, no data. Fox didn't have certain things. It was a boring ass race that I spent. I mean, the first half of the race was on mute while I watched the IndyCar race.
Yeah, because I didn't we start. I'm saying we because I was there.
Yeah,
Didn't we start like 15 minutes before NASCAR?
I think so. Yeah,
And
because
then we
like
were
Tyler,
still probably done before NASCAR ended.
wow, there was a 2-hour lightning delay.
Oh yeah,
It was like
we were
race
slated
started.
to start.
Race started. Tyler Reddick spins out lap 2. Lightning delay, and I don't know if the lightning delay led into the
They have
internet
rubber
outage.
tires. Why?
The fans.
Screw them.
And then it was, lightning delay. I don't know, maybe the internet outage played into that. I don't think I turned the volume on my TV up until maybe midway through the second stage.
Jeez.
And Indy had already been over with. I was just doing I'd taken a nap. That's what it was. And
Had your sheets for dinner and then took a
yeah,
nap.
yeah.
I actually got sheets on my way home.
So the people making the sandwiches at Sheets were really slow. So my mozzarella sticks got out way quicker than my sandwich was done.
I
So
also got mozzarella sticks.
So my mozzarella sticks were like soggy, and they were somehow both soggy and hard at the same time. Like the cheese had started.
That's what happens.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh. But very uneventful race. Brake rotors started to explode later in the race.
Well, didn't Xfinity car catch on fire at Portland?
I didn't even watch the race.
Oh.
That's most of Saturday afternoon.
Portland's a road course, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But brake rotors exploded. A couple things I did want to bring up. Corey LaJoy filling in for Chase Elliott, the stacking pennies guy finally gets his chance for a big team after I think 2020 during the pandemic, telling Denny Hamlin, if he was in Denny's car, he'd have just as many wins as Denny does.
And I actually listened to.
Did you listen to the Actions Detrimental?
No, screw him. I listened to his
DBC
last Monday. Yeah, I listened to DBC and Stacking Pennies on my drive up to Detroit on Friday morning.
Yeah,
at 3 a.m.
Was listening to now I have to think of the name of it. The Teardown today, and they were bringing up some of the things. Yeah, Corey LaJoy finishing like 21st after. I mean, he's driving. The next gen cars are supposed to be, the same car all the way around, but sometimes if you're driving a car with brand new parts every week as opposed to one that they might be a couple weeks old, new crew chief, new engineers, new setups, this and that, I'm not going to judge it off of 1 week's racing. And then number 2, I don't know if you've seen any of the controversy yesterday, and I kind of mentioned this last week on the podcast, but RCR, Richard Childress, and his crybaby of a grandson, Austin Dillon, crying about Austin Cindric right rearing him into the wall on Sunday, where a lot of the replay looks like Austin Dillon ran out of talent and came up on Austin Cindric. So now, like I kind of said last week, we're going to play this fucking game. Excuse my language. We're going to become the FIA that every time there's an incident you don't like, you're going to pull up SMT data and be like, oh, look. You know, it showed that he pulled left on me. So now we're just going to turn into the FIA. Let's get stewards at the track so we can give somebody a 5-second pit lane penalty because you moved your steering wheel a little too much. When again, I'm not there. I don't drive the cars. I'm only going off of what I see on Twitter and in video. I just saw a little bit ago Freddie Kraft tweeting something about the data may say otherwise. What's it say? Yeah, Freddie. So Couch Racer, who Freddie Kraft is a part of, the Cindric Dillon incident shouldn't even be considered for a penalty. Let's not get ridiculous. And then Freddie quote tweeted, and oh boy, TJ showed me some data this morning, and this may contradict this statement. So every time we get crashed out of a race, we're going to pull SMT on everyone around us. And, you know, hey, because Denny, and look, it's not right to right rear somebody into the wall at 160 miles an hour, 180, whatever they were going. But now we've set a precedent where it's like, hey, look, you know, he showed a millimeter of left turn, suspend him for a week.
Oh God.
You
know, we complain about the FIA, but listening to INDYCAR's race control during qualifying, they're pretty strict. They hand out drive-throughs and because INDYCAR, they actually give you a penalty if during qualifying or practice you bring out a yellow.
Yeah.
And they'll make you go and sit. You have to sit a lap out during practice or qualifying. Or if you wreck out a car or if you cause a caution at the start of a qualifying session before any driver has a time in, ooh, that is a big penalty in INDYCAR.
Oh, another thing that I think you'll enjoy. NASCAR on NBC posted, we're less than 3 weeks away from being back.
Thank God.
3 weeks and no more frickin' Fox.
I can't wait.
And yeah,
NBC just the team is so much better.
Yeah. I mean, you just got Dale Jr. There's a wreck turn too.
I mean, I don't think anybody will ever top the INDYCAR NBC guys.
Oh no.
I mean, they're
it's
just
one of the cleanest, best
amazing guys. Yeah. Especially even the pit reporters, you know, like guys like Kevin Lee.
Yeah.
And that they're really cool guys. Got to be somewhat around them this weekend.
Yeah.
But it's just so good. Like, and the director for INDYCAR does amazing job at, you know, producing the shots and putting the whole thing together. Where Fox, it's like, oh, there's a wreck. Cool. It was nice to watch a race without commercials, though.
Yeah.
The commercials took care of themselves with everybody, with all the full course yellows we had.
Yeah. Another thing, speaking of Austin Dillon, you know, you've been racing for your grandfather's team for like 10 years now, and you have like 4 wins. And Kyle Busch comes in, and he's got 3 wins already this season. That was another one. Yeah, I like to open every NASCAR race with, Well, 4 hours to watch, insert driver I don't necessarily like win a race. But last thing I'll say,
Yeah, because didn't Kyle Busch win last night?
yeah, he's up to
Yeah.
3 now. Fontana, Talladega, and Gateway. But watch Chase Elliott come up. Oh, wait, let's go to picks. Let's go to picks for now. The picks for
who
next
we
week.
picked, or we want to
Yes,
pick for
because
next.
we'll just do the picks because that's a story I want to lead into the story.
Okay, well, for Gateway, we picked. You picked LaJoy and I picked Blaney. Where did who finished ahead?
You won.
Oh, did LaJoy wreck out or
21st? Blaney.
Oh, and I didn't even. You picked LaJoy. Was that before or after we figured it out?
It was after we figured out.
Okay.
Last week on the podcast.
And then we didn't pick anything for Spain, and I'm just not gonna even talk about that other series. The
Max Verstappen show. That's all it. Well, your boy. He.
You muted yourself.
I said your boy. He started third, and
Perez.
No, Lando.
Oh yeah. How the
hell did he third?
How did he yeah, so the guy that was sitting next to me in the media center, I was like, oh man, I wonder how F1's doing, because it was Sunday morning, and he pulled it up, and then I looked at qualifying. I was like, wait, what? How did he get up there?
Yeah.
So Detroit. You picked you definitely won this one. You picked Power, and I picked Grosjean because I was really hoping he would win in Detroit. And yeah, you got the point because your driver actually finished second.
You know what? I do respect Grosjean, and it's second or nothing at this point this year.
And that brings the points to well, no, it doesn't. Who crashed out first in the 500, Award or Rosenquist?
I think Award, because wasn't Rosenquist later in the race?
I can't remember. Okay, so you're either leading by 1 point or we're on par.
Or we're tied.
Well, no, sorry. You're either leading by 2 or we're tied.
Nice.
So
we're doing great.
I don't know how, but that's just how it's happened.
Okay, so for next week's picks, because I need to get this out there because we'll get sidetracked and I'll forget. I'm picking Chase Elliott because I'm saying he comes off of this suspension. NASCAR needs a story, so he wins.
So we'll hold off. So we're just going to do NASCAR this week because we actually have a week in between for INDYCAR. INDYCAR does not race this weekend.
Yeah, well, and then next Monday we'll be at Wayne County, and possibly next Tuesday at Sharon.
So maybe we should.
We'll have to see if there's even a podcast next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally just NASCAR next week, so, you're not missing much.
Yeah, unless Sonoma is some crazy bang up thing that neither of us will probably watch because you've got karting and I'll be at Wayne County.
Yeah. So all right, let's go ahead and pick Road America. It's a traditional road course. I was not expecting Pelot to do that well.
No.
And then he was just kind of, where the hell? Which actually in the press conference, he did say that he's open to staying with Chip Ganassi.
I almost wonder,
because he's doing so well.
I was gonna say, with the success this year, do you go to McLaren at all? Do you
I
hope
wouldn't.
you can maybe get that F1
But
seat?
is there? I don't think that there's going to be a McLaren IndyCar seat open.
With the way Rosenquist is doing this year,
Rosenquist
do you
is
get rid of him? You don't get rid of him.
absolutely killing it this year, besides possibly pissing off Rossi after his move yesterday. It's never good to see teammates have contact like that.
Yeah.
But Rosenquist just I don't know. And in the press conference, I asked him too if he's just fighting hard to have a seat next year, and he said, I'm just racing, and it's
Yeah.
what I'll do. And I'm just so he said he's just racing as he normally would. He's just doing an amazing job, and it's cool to see that there's pretty much every week within the top 5 or 6 there's a McLaren up there. And that's not something we can say about Andretti this season.
I wish I remember. It might have been Breakheart on TikTok did a thing about some of the owners. Maybe it was Penske or somebody, or Andretti, being mad about McLaren becoming a 4th powerhouse team in IndyCar. And
probably it was probably Andretti, because he seems like a cranky man. The only team owner that I saw was Chip Ganassi the whole week. Actually, I think I see. What is it? Who's in charge of Penske?
Cindric.
Besides, I saw Cindric, which is what Austin Cindric's dad.
Yeah.
So I saw Cindric, but I didn't see anybody else. So who is Kirkwood is he's Andretti, right?
Yeah.
He was the only Andretti in the top 10.
Huh.
And then you had Herta and DeFrancesco in 11th and 12th.
Another thing,
and holy shit,
I saw a TikTok about
Canapino was in 14th.
It was FIA World Cup or something, like Racing World Cup or something. It was, a hypothetical thing where the American driver one of the American drivers that the person suggested was Colton Herta. And I was just like, are you kidding? It was like Jimmy and Jim Jam and Colton Herta. And I was like, okay, I can understand Jimmy. He's done every discipline.
What,
the last
to go to
F1?
F1?
No, it was like FIA World Cup or something.
Oh. It's like, please don't put him in F1.
No.
He does not do great in open wheel at all.
But it was like Jim Jam and Colton Herta. And I was like, it was an American person doing this TikTok. And I was like, do you want us to lose? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
we need to throw freaking. Oh, they have to be Americans.
No, because
Joseph Newgarden and Rossi, maybe.
Yeah, I don't.
There's not many.
No.
Americans in IndyCar.
But did you do your NASCAR pick?
No, because I have no clue who the hell to pick.
Helpful advice? Maybe Trackhouse won this race last year. So Crash Stain or Suarez.
Oh, but I don't like either of them.
Reddick usually does pretty good on road courses.
Oh, screw it. I'll go with Reddick then.
I would say
this is a road course?
Yeah. Sonoma, Cindric, Dinger. I mean, with the next gen car, though, a lot of the road courses, it's almost like a super speedway.
Is anybody special racing this one?
I haven't heard anything. But...
Okay. So going back to IndyCar, though, so I picked Reddick. Uh,
Okay.
I was really surprised to see Pagano doing so well. He was in the fast 12. And he finished 13th, which might be the best finish for MSR this season.
Yeah, I was gonna. I mean,
And
maybe.
I mean, Elio was all the way down 19th. So I mean, that's pretty good for them
Yeah.
to do that well when they haven't. I was really surprised at some points when I would look up at the screen and be like, "Oh, how did he get up there?" Like, he
MSR
hasn't been doing that
hasn't
good.
found a way to lose this one yet.
It was like I think practice 2. There were some unconventional people up in the top, and how the hell they get up there? Like who screwed up?
Yeah.
I think it was like Isla. Isla was up there. I was like, how'd he get up there?
Who's screwing up timing and scoring right now?
Who is not doing their job right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who's gonna win the IndyCar championship this year. Obviously, there's still like 10 races to go, I think, or more.
Yeah, it's the same with F1. It's you never know who's gonna win.
Okay, sure. Palou he's got a decent lead, but I think Newgarden's next up.
Yeah, I mean I think it's open to it's anyone's game.
The IndyCar app didn't need an update this weekend.
Well, lucky you, because mine did.
Maybe it sensed I was at the track.
That's why my fantasy didn't get set, because I tried to set it Saturday. It needed to update. It wouldn't update over data because I wasn't home. So I gave up and then tried to set my lineup as they were doing parade laps yesterday, and it would not let me.
So, very surprising this year. Scott Dixon is up in 4th right now, and he's been having he's not doing the best in every race, but he's consistent.
He's consistent, yeah.
I
was going to say slow and steady, but yes, consistent is the word.
How many championships does he have? Oh. Could he get, what number will this be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So could this be number 7?
I don't know if we've discussed this on the podcast before, but no one is allowed to eclipse 7 championships in automobile racing.
No, because Lewis Hamilton hasn't.
That's it.
Was it Mario? Has 7?
Schumacher.
Oh yeah, it is Schumacher.
Senior.
Wouldn't that be crazy if
Jim Jam?
If it was an IndyCar driver,
not the ones that are basically considered like the greatest of all time, but yeah, like an IndyCar driver,
Yeah, like people diminish like Scott Dixon. Yeah, he's been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
But he's got 6 championships.
He's definitely out there doing it.
There's a reason why he's been with Chip Ganassi forever.
But yeah, I mean, Detroit definitely a surprising race. Hopefully next year they can maybe smooth out some of the issues they might have had this weekend. I didn't see a whole lot, not being at the track, and then not just really only watching the race yesterday. I didn't see a whole lot. I had read a whole lot beforehand, but like we've said, when it comes to the internet, everyone's looking for their clicks. So, some of the smallest things become the biggest things because you want the clicks for the ad revenue. But yeah, I think overall it was a good race on TV. I think you had a good time at the track
it was
itself.
such a good time. It was just you know, it was a pain to get around, and it's just how the track's designed and where it's at and the things that are around it. But
Hey.
you had 4 parking garages that you could have access to.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even have a photo hole map because it was
Shoot
find somewhere
anywhere.
and shoot, you know. But it looks like the dogs are getting antsy, and we've been on for almost 2 hours.
Can you hear him crying behind me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, because he gets dinner between 7 and 8 o'clock every night.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock, so he's hungry.
I know. But he will start about 7:15.
Jeez.
I have never met a like, you know, dogs can usually tell like, oh, it's getting dark outside. It doesn't matter daylight savings time, anything like that. He will 6:45. He'll start bugging you for dinner, and he'll start doing what he's doing now. He's pacing back and forth for dinner time. He probably got 3 cups of food for breakfast.
My goodness.
That's why we go through a bag of dog food a week. See,
Well,
look, he knows I'm talking about dinner. Crowley, you want dinner?
He's a
hungry?
big boy, though.
All right. Well, anything else for the week
that's all. So we probably won't have a podcast next week because we're going to be busy doing what we do as photographers.
Check the Facebook page for all of the albums. Ooh, I usually try and get them out 24 hours after the event.
Yeah, and then we'll start posting more to our actual website and have galleries up there, and of course I'll have the TikToks flowing. But yeah, we'll see you maybe in 2 weeks for the FTI podcast number 17. We're cooking along here. That's all I have. We'll see you when we see you.
Yeah. See you later, guys.
God.